Let's see what you got for us. Oh, I was going to take a look at your composition, wasn't I? Okay, there it is. So Moira Zen, which is a yuck, but whatever, we'll take it. The Ryan, Zarya, McCree, and Reaper. So you're actually going to be serving more as a flanker here. So the unfortunate part here is that like your McCree isn't going to have damage boost, and your Moira is only going to be healing 2 tanks, and one of your tanks with bubbles and not like a health pool. So it's Moira is really good against healing tanks with big health pools and tanks with armor. So having a Moira with a Ryan Zarya, especially after the Moira nerfs, is just not okay. I'm not even going to say it's suboptimal. It's not okay. It sucks. It's really bad, especially if you're playing Zenyatta. The damage boost is just way, way, way too valuable. We're not at the point, like the original stigma behind Mercy mains didn't come mostly from her being easy to play. She's honestly not that easy to play. She's on the easier end, but she's still, like, playing in higher level games, it's difficult to stay alive if you don't know what you're doing. Like, you don't have a fade, you don't have orbs, you just sit there and pull at your pistol and like, pew, 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 and then you're dead, okay? So, the thing was, back before we had, like, the Moth meta, Mercy was not only easy to play, she was also shit, and also really annoying. Because Mercies would do literally nothing, their team would die, then they'd swoop in, get a 5-man res, and be like, yay, I contributed. So, like, the days of Mercy being just a bad, underpowered character are gone. She's by far the best, like, constant, high healing output character. And damage boost, when properly applied, is just too strong. It's way too strong right now. So, this is gross, honestly. And the other thing is that you're close range, and there's pretty much no chance that this composition is going to be able to close range on another target. If they've got stronger healing, if they've got stronger DPS, you know, and even with McCree, they don't even want to get that close because they can kind of like plink away at range. So who knows how your Ryan's actually going to play this, but I would probably play this more as a flanking playstyle to exert pressure and force resources away from the front line so your front line does have an easier time. But let's see how you do it. How do I get my team to stop using ults when a fight is won? Like, for example, when our Winnow gets 2 picks, then our Hanzo and Zarya combo while I'm screaming, we won, push no ults. Well, if you're saying that on comms and people are ignoring, you say GG, go next, and just wait for a better team. Sometimes people just aren't going to listen to you. Also, hi, CarQ. How you doing? Also, the amount of, like, ult charge right now that Mercy gets, so even if an opposing team transcendences a Grav, first of all, your damage boost allows the Hanzo ultimate to cut through Transcendence. But if they biotic boost it or combo Valkyrie with Grav or something like that, a Mercy damage boosting a Hanzo gets a shit ton of ult charge. Even though the damage doesn't kill anybody, damage boosting a Hanzo ultimate who is damage people in a Grav, Mercy's ultimate just goes all the way through. I should do a recording just to see how much ult charge Mercy gets from damage boosting a Grav Dragon combo. But it's nuts. You get Valkyrie like instantly. Goat's comp is not as badly nerfed as you would think. Because barriers weren't usually the way that you wouldn't normally try and split, divide, and conquer a team with like a Winston barrier or something like that. So no, I think Moira is still good in tank heavy, like 3 or 4 tank comps. Nice shirt, coach. A little bit. I don't like that spot. First of all, because you're still gonna, like, you want to be shadow stepping in places where people can't see or hear you. And if you're at the higher elos, there's either going to be somebody on this box, or a Hanzo literally in this window. So you're already dead to a sniper if you're playing in any other elo but plat. So right off the bat, I don't like your teleport. If you do want to go into the right here, you could probably just ask your Reinhardt, or if you are playing Reinhardt, playing on the right and then just sneak in there yourself. But the shadow step right off the bat isn't very good. Would you prefer Ana over Moira? depends on your...
Thanks for the shield.
Wow, you got bailed out there real good.
Let's go in. Arisa's free.
Zarya is one of your better characters. No armor, pretty decent hitbox, no crazy movement abilities that makes her hard to hit. So Zaryas are good targets for you, especially if you can get up close to them and just blast them. Okay, I'm gonna watch some more. I'm gonna see if you adapt to it at all, or if you're gonna try and do the same thing. But right now, I just feel like you're trying to close the range on people so that you can get more efficacy out of his shotguns. But that's not the way that you want to play Reaper. You know, if you're trying to close distance on a long-range character, the only thing they're going to do is kite away from you. And when you get up close to them, you're going to have to do way more damage to make up for the fact that they were doing a ton more while you were closing the distance. So you need to look at, like, try and close the distance in other ways. And although Reaper isn't, you know, traditionally, I suppose, classifies as flanker.
Let's stabilize first.
Unless he's playing with a Lucio, he needs to close the distance some other way, which will normally involve flanking.
Let's go. Get the junk, get the junk, get the junk. Rotate over on left, rotate over on left.
So, like, here's a great example, and you'll see me do this quite a bit. I actually got punished pretty hard for it. When did I get punished for it? Blizzard World game. Did anybody watch Blizzard World when I was playing Brigitte yesterday? One of the things that I really like to do is play short-range heroes and then catch people in rotation. It's one of my favorite things to do. So on... I'm going to draw a diagram. On Blizzard World, hopefully somebody saw that, because I'm going to explain that. Because I fed, like... on stream, it was like, huh, Jayne's a moron. But there was a reason behind it. So if this is boat... move my mic up a little bit. So if this is boat, and then this is kind of like stables in here, this is Blizzard World. Top down, arches are over here, then it kind of looks like this, I guess. We'll just make it look... This is Blizzard World first point, and then the actual point is in here. So we were playing a tank rush comp. So the tank rush comp that we were playing... we all decided to go up this direction. So they were running Rein Zarya, and we were Rein Zarya, Diva, Moira, Lucio. And I was playing the Brigitte. So 5 of my teammates went this location. And I actually decided not to go there, and I went here as 1. Now, the reason that I went here is because this was a gamble. So these are high-risk, high-reward plays. So high risk, high reward. Now, what is the risk? Well, I'm not with my team, so if I get caught out, I die. But I know that they scouted us going 5 of us over here, and I know that the tank core, the 2 from the Rein and Zarya, are going to move to match. Now, the strength that they have is that they are going to have a Zenyatta. Assuming... rotating back to the arches here. So if I come in and the Zenyatta's attention is drawn to this corner and all of the resources are drawn to this corner, I can come in and remove Discord, which when we're running 3 tanks is one of our most difficult things to play around. It forces our tanks to be a lot more cautious, and if I catch him out, I can take him out really easily because their Mercy is also going to be devoting attention to this Reinhardt. And I came over here, and I actually didn't find the Zenyatta, and I still don't know where he was. I don't know where the Zenyatta was, but he was not here. He wasn't here. He wasn't on the point. Their Zenyatta was somewhere. And then I got killed by a Doomfist. So this didn't work out for me. But if the Zen had been here, I would have removed him and then been able to transition back to my team as my team pushed on to the point, and we would have won, and it would have been happy. It didn't happen. It didn't happen that way. So this is kind of... These flanks don't have to be large flanks. You don't have to flank and come in from here. You don't have to flank and come in from here. You can just try and put yourself in the middle of a team or behind a team on flank rotations like this. So on Volskaya here, this is the box, and the enemy team is over here. So enemy team is here. Enemy team. Enemy team is here, okay? And they are retreating to the point. And your team is pushing in here. And you're over here. And you kind of close the distance on them as well as Reaper. Whereas if you had started moving early, you could have gone around the box, and then you remove this safe space. So anytime that you can take control of map, especially if that map is the area in which an opponent will retreat into, it becomes very strong. Because either the weakest targets or the squishiest targets are going to be the one to retreat first. And if they're retreating into a Reaper, then they simply are going to, even if they can't be stopped completely, you're going to slow them down enough for your team, even without a Lucio, to catch up and overwhelm them. So look for these really simple flanks, especially to cut off rotations or split teams or things like this. So let's take a look at how this would look in practicality. I already went back.
It's coming down up.
So this is the Riptire. You kill this.
Let's stabilize first. Get the Rhine fully healed before going. Oh, okay, now we just need it back.
Going in anyway, even though your Zen just died. That sucks.
Okay, we're going
in.
in.
This is where it is. You're going to the left, and then the Rhine decides to chase them. So here, you pretty much know that the team is not going to push you. Your Rhine is going to push them, and your Moira is going to want to keep the beam on your Rhine and the opposing team. And you don't have the distance here between these two, the shield and you, to do anything of value. The most value you could get is flank around the box early and cut off their route of retreat.
The junk, get the junk, get the junk.
So see how they're retreating behind? If you had been here, if your Reinhardt pushes them and you're around the flank, you can pincer them.
Or rotate over on left, rotate over on left. Right on point, right on point.
But they're already here. Your Reinhardt decides to come with you, and now it's not going to work out.
I'm behind. I need to go.
Stabilize a bit. Great.
So you're still playing with your team. If there's anybody who should be playing with your team, it's McCree. You should be the flanker. You need to kill that, even at the cost of your life. Good.
Okay, you know what? Don't use the ults. I say we just take it. Dive needed B. Oh, man. Maybe you don't need to. Holy shit, our Mercury's fragging.
Okay, keep it up if you can.
I like the McCree's name. It's Hammer the Fan.
They're fragging, huh?
Oh, damn.
That's
Does that work with every DPS? No, not every
Nice,
DPS.
big plays.
Most, but not every. Like a Widowmaker is just going to get run over if she tries to cut off her
and then
retreat.
right after
She can
just
control the
grab,
map from
finish it
range
all.
and using sight lines, but DPS do it the
Maybe
same
not like the
concept
same
in
fight, but
different
you know what I
ways.
mean. Let's go. Oh, you even use a Risa shield?
I'm gonna be late. Mind this.
Okay.
So 3 minutes in, no Reaper ult. That's a feels bad,
Just
man.
whenever you see an opportunity to shatter, go for it. Even if the Risa drops shield.
Careful, Hanzo. Can we punish this?
Risa's all the way back. Let's go. Yeah, there you go. Forward, 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 forward.
They're going to get stunned out of this. Oh, she used it. You're telegraphing here.
Get that Junkrat first. He cut us off.
It's a pretty aggressive Wraith.
Brigitte's low, Brigitte's low. Big. Look at the Zarya.
Hanzo got me. Right side. There's two. Jump right then, careful, jump right. Well done.
Nice, guys.
Where do I want to
Good
start,
fight.
I guess? Your aim could definitely be improved, but you also just need to find ways to be more effective. You're not closing the distance or pressuring the opponent. The opponent is investing the same resources into pressuring your tank core as they are pressuring you because you're playing with them. So if you would just even if you just flank once or twice, even if you're successful once but the fight fails. So let's look at it this way. If you're playing Reaper, right? And then we'll just say the objective is here and your team is pushing in from here. If every single fight you're either here or here or here or something like this, Then the next time you're pushing in, until they actually know where you are, they're going to have to invest resources or their intention trying to look for you so that like their support doesn't get caught out or killed, or their Orisa doesn't get just jumped on and like two-shot or something like that. They need to try and be paying attention to you. But if they know that a Reaper is here while their Reinhardt is here, they know that you are of no special risk to them. You are no real threat until they can close the distance. So until you actually close the distance onto them, in which case they will have ample time to reposition or pressure you or remove their Reinhardt from the fight. It's just, you're not a threat, and you're not forcing the opponent to act any differently while you're existing past like 15, 20 meters. So you need to find ways to be more effective on Reaper and get into the engagement faster, and then time your flanks so that they do alleviate pressure on your Reinhardt instead of allowing the opponent to put more resources into your Reinhardt.
I'm coming in with ult.
We should be capping, so it's fine.
Nice.
Nice.
You really didn't contribute anything to this capture. Generic damage, I suppose, but at no point were you part of the win condition.
Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Oh, okay, so you're going to go Mei on defense. How long is this? So I think this is going to go multiple rounds. If flanking from the back, when do you decide to go in? When team turns yellow, sound, if no voice comms? So if you aren't using voice comms, the ideal is to push in right as the engagement starts. So it's kind of like an instinctual thing. You'll become more familiar with practice. But the idea is with flanking. So if you flank and you get involved in a 1v2, but your main tank core, because of that, is involved in a 5v4, like this, right? So if you demand more resources than you yourself possess, so let's say you as Reaper flank a Zen, the Zen turns to fight you, the Mercy heals the Zen, and meanwhile your main tank core is fighting the remaining 4 members of their team without healing, this gives them a sizable advantage, and overall, you fighting 2 allows you to have a larger advantage where the more people are involved. As long as you don't feed, because then that turns it into a 6v5, you don't even have to kill anybody for flanks to be effective. And this is like the real secret of why flanks are so powerful. It is so rare. The only time your flank is not really effective is if you either die or if the opponent can counter you with only a single person's worth of resources, and they actually successfully do that. But normally, flanking and dealing with flanks will require more than one individual from the defenders, which gives your attackers a much, much easier job. So my preferred timing of flanking is kind of like just a moment. And I won't say a second or anything, because a moment is kind of hard to define, but I like to attack just before my tank core pushes in, so that in the chaos, my tank core can take a lot of ground for free while they're focused on me. And if I get a kill, then boof, steamroll. But yeah, you definitely don't want to attack too late afterwards, because then if they don't know you're on a flank, then it's a 1v0. Congratulations, you won a 1v0. And then your team loses the 5v6. So I like to go just barely before the engagement. But yeah, it's amazing how powerful flanks are, even if you don't kill anyone.
Ryan's better. If you want to play Orisa, you can.
How would I describe their win condition? I didn't see their composition that they're running on defense here. But when you are playing in the lower elos, win conditions can be as simple as kill the linchpin of their composition. So if they're running a Mercy, or they're running a Zenyatta who has Transcendence or something, your win condition can be frag. It doesn't have to be something complicated like go left, count to 10, pull out a Ouija board to figure out what the secret passcode is, grab 3 people, and blade the other 2. It doesn't have to be super complicated. fragging key targets is a win condition. And by me saying that he didn't contribute to the win condition, I mean that he just applied generic damage with no thought onto no specific targets in any specific order. He was just there damaging whatever was in front of him.
3, 2, 1.
Alright, let's do it.
Attackers incoming. Defend.
Yeah, it's the same reason Tracer can be so effective on defense. Get in the backline when they attack, and your team wins while two people try and deal with the Tracer. Then Tracer can easily get out as well. Yes, it's one of the reasons Tracer is so strong, because Tracer will almost always require more than one individual's worth of resources.
Objective A. The power of this
I don't know new sim stuff yet. I don't like to make assumptions based off of metas or character swaps, especially those that we haven't seen in competitive play yet.
Ryan's cut off.
Hanzo.
Let's get the Ryan. Ryan's frozen. Ryan's
Your
frozen.
Brigitte just went AFK.
Oh,
Brigide's on me in the back. I'm running. Help.
okay. Where is she? Oh, she's left. She's left. Your Brigitte.
You're gonna get shield bashed. That's an unfortunate situation. How much Mei do you play? I don't feel like you play a lot of Mei.
Ah, no.
I wonder if you go back to Reaper. I'm gonna see how long you actually play Mei.
Back then?
Because so far it doesn't look like you're super experienced on her. Also, Mei has fall off,
objective lost.
which makes right-clicking from that distance almost meaningless.
Objective B.
A lot of people don't know that, but Mei's projectiles have fall off.
I'm going to cut off the Ryan. Go for him.
And if you are going to do these like
Nice,
wall
man.
freezes, you're playing with an Orisa, so you're not really even playing with a
Okay.
character that actually can follow up
Wasted that.
on your freezes. At least not a tank. Yeah. You're still down one, too. I wonder if they come back. You're going back. Good! Back to Reaper. I don't want to talk about, like, there's just... It would be such a huge pivot to be talking about Mei. I want to look at more Reaper stuff before we cover Mei.
Trap itself, sorry.
But I will
That's okay. It's time for the reverse.
My internet.
Anybody who's asking Mei to
That's
have her
okay.
fall off removed didn't play in the sniper Mei was cancerous. Holy moly.
commences in 30 seconds.
Season 2 sniper Mei. Whew. Whew. Season 2 sniper Mei. I think it was changed in season 3 that Mei was given fall off on her icicles. Sniper Mei, best Mei though? You're insane. I hated Sniper Mei. Oh, I don't know. Fan the Hammer McCree was pretty bad too. They've got a Junk, which is going to make it... Junk does pretty much everything better than Reaper, which is so unfortunate. Reaper and Hanzo are just overtuned,
They have
especially
left for free.
compared
Let's
to
rotate all the
Reaper.
way left.
You're going to get shield bashed.
Just keep going
Your
forward.
Wraith
Don't be
in?
scared. Just go through. Go through the choke.
I do like
Just
your
letting us
comms.
have it.
I do like your comms. I think I'd be like
Get
to
on the
have
plane.
like plans discussed a
Nice.
little bit farther in
I'm
advance.
running the high ground. Take it a little
And
slow.
your use of Wraith is very, very
Okay,
poor.
let's wait a bit then. Oh, shit.
Okay, up top.
Alright.
So your use of Wraith seems almost arbitrary. And it's almost like you don't have a decision with what you want to do with it. So like here you kind of like Wraith out, but
keep
then
going forward.
back
Don't
in.
be scared. Just go through. Go through the choke.
And then you're like, come on,
Just letting
team.
us have it.
I believe in you. You're their number
Get on
one
the plane.
cheerleader. And then here your
Nice.
Wraith again doesn't
I'm
really
running the
make
high ground.
sense.
Take it a little
So
slow.
you kind of Wraith in, but then out, then
Okay,
back in, and
let's
you
wait
just
a
kind of
bit
like
then.
end
Oh,
your Wraith in the middle of the opposing team where they have a Brigitte, a Hanzo, and a Junkrat looking at you. So I don't know. Usually I can identify sort of like a mentality or a thinking behind you using your Wraith and just say that you're using this wrong, this is how you should use it, but I don't You're just kind of like using it to mitigate damage, and then you're being indecisive about what you're wanting to do with it. But Wraith should primarily be used for two reasons. The first is going to be, well, I guess you can reload now, so there's basically a third. But the first, and your primary reason, is that if you can flank onto a target, you can get really close and then save your Wraith to escape back to your team. So it's a lot like Genji saving his Swift Strike to Swift Strike out and return to his team. Reaper needs to be able to arrive close without using cooldowns, do a shit ton of damage, cause a shit ton of chaos, and then Wraith back to his team, especially with the new speed boost. You can be in deeper and escape out from farther away. It's really nice, as long as you know the path that you're going to take before you actually press that shift button. The second thing you can use it for is for dodging cooldowns. Concussion mines, sleep darts, anti-nades, it can cleanse yourself, hooks. It's kind of like Winston's bubble is meant to block cooldowns, not damage, or block healing, stuff like that. At some point Winston's bubble will block damage, but if you just use Winston's bubble to block damage, it's not going to be its most effective. If you just use Reaper's Wraith form to avoid damage, it's not going to be used in its most effective way. So use it to escape once you've closed the distance using methods that are not Wraith form. Use it to avoid specific cooldowns and keep you in the fight, and use it for a combat reload. So just tap, tap, reload, thanks for the new, and you can just get about one more shot to finish people off. But yeah, your Wraith form, the usage of Wraith form just appears arbitrary at the moment.
Shit.
Okay, I'm top.
Nice.
Hunt's low, Hunt.
Just try your best to do.
How do you block cooldowns with bubble? If they are going to like hook you, or a Roadhog's looking at you, you bubble. If you're jumping in and you know the McCree has flash, or there's the other thing is that the timing of your Winston bubbles. If you're jumping or a McCree or an Ana, you actually drop the bubble before you land, because those guys will normally use your cooldowns while you're on a predictable trajectory. Whereas against targets that don't have cooldowns that will fuck you up, normally you place your bubble after you land. So the timing of your bubble placement is used specifically to block or remove the threat of cooldowns being used against you. So it's not just used to arbitrarily block damage. It's used to block cooldowns that will kill you.
Get on it. We're winning.
Is it worth it to left side teleport over the water, then attack behind while your team is going in? Yep, that's an example of an effective flank.
Everyone, on the objective.
Is Zen's popping
Keep on
off?
high ground still.
He was blind. Sorry, don't let Diva.
Reinforce this position.
Literally, you had nothing to do with this victory either. So far, we actually
go.
haven't seen you have impact on the game yet.
Back spawn again.
Attack objective.
It's okay. Enzo's top.
I try and set up a visor from back or side.
Again with this Wraith.
Alright.
Are we going to start pushing it a little bit?
Yeah, there's. Yeah, we should go main.
I'm
Let's
going
go.
in alongside. They probably know I'm here. Probably pushing around now.
This is a good flank. He sees you, though.
Don't use ults. Just farm it.
Good. And you wraithed out. That was good. That finally provided some value. A little bit higher pressure. You're way too close. You're going to get shield bashed or storm arrowed.
Yep.
So you can't like 1v3 or 1v4.
Say
But
it's
that
good enough
was like
to
the
have-
first time we saw something good on Reaper. The flanker on the left side. You weren't really controlling your distance properly.
I don't think they more ulted.
There's a Reaper does damage from farther away than a lot of people think. You don't have to be so close that you can actually like click on people's heads as Reaper, and especially against things like Reinhardt and Brigitte. Yes, you're a close range hero, but there's this like sweet spot where you're out of the effective range of the opponent and still in your effective range. So you were too close to like melee heroes, and especially things like Junkrat. That's another hero you do not want to be anywhere close to, because he's gonna he's gonna two tap you once with his grenade, once with his conk in rapid succession. Huge burst damage, huge CC. You want to avoid that as much as possible. If you're farther away, it's harder for him to land the shots, as well as you can actually use your Wraith form reactively in order to dodge one of his concussion mines if you have to. So good flank. The timing was fine enough. You know, the fight was already underway, so it was a little bit later than I would have liked, but a bit more range control when you actually are fighting heroes like that, and then not trying to 1v3 a rallying Brigitte who still has shield bash would probably be also big improvement.
And we also have Shatter.
How do you consistently get one-shot kills on Roadhog?
Alive.
Hook,
Just
walk
save
forward,
projected for the Ryan
as long
so
as
you
they
can
don't
hammer
have an
into it,
escape
and
or like a
you should be able to
reflectability, or
damage it all.
as long as they don't have an escape or a survivability, another step forward,
Yeah,
aim for
we
the
grab
neck,
into it as well. Oh,
shoot
shit.
melee, and another shoot before you hook will make it
That's okay, that's okay.
a lot
Let's
higher
back
chance of
away.
one-shotting.
Wait. No, don't engage.
So, right-click, hook, walk forward. If they're not something like a Genji or Tracer that can reflect a recall, another step forward during the stun period of hook, aim for the neck, bang, melee.
Ryan, come back. Please.
Ooh, using the communication wheel. That's how you know you're getting serious.
Alright, we're
Okay.
good.
Chat, give me a number. What do you think the percentage chance of that Hanzo killing the... Like, the Hanzo's in the window, and Reaper is kind of peek shooting this Hanzo. What are the chances, percent chance that the Hanzo lands a headshot? %65 seems a little high. Wow. Chat thinks it's really high. I wouldn't have gone anywhere that high. I would have said like 35%, 30%. We'll just say it's 30%. Okay. So Hanzo one shot. Hanzo one shot. 30%. What are the chances that the Reaper kills the Hanzo? Maybe 0.1% chance. Now, did I really need to draw this? No. But recognizing when you're at a disadvantage, a lot of people seem to be honorable for some reason, is that they will recognize that they are in a disadvantage, or they're not in an they don't have the advantage in a matchup, and then they'll keep engaging in that matchup for some reason. And there's nothing wrong with disengaging or just being like, you know what? I don't feel like fighting you today, sir. And this Hanzo is perfectly okay with this Reaper continuing to engage and partake in this matchup because it's heavily in his favor and he's almost under no risk at all. Where like if you land 20 shots on him from this range, is he going to be like below half health? Probably. And then he'll be like, oh, can somebody heal me up? He's like, oh, perfect, I'm healed. You know, he has all the time in the world, and you have no reactions at all to being one-shot. So don't take unfavorable matchups. Especially on heroes like Reaper, who have massive, just glaring weaknesses in their kit, you have to play in such a way that mitigate those weaknesses and don't have them just show their ugly head. So flank, make them lose sight of you so that you can close the distance without being engaged upon. Because even if you have to AD strafe an opponent just a little bit while you're trying to close the distance, it's going to make closing the distance take longer and give the opponent more chances to shoot you. And as you get into higher and higher opponents, they're not going to let you get away with doing that. They are going to punish you. They are going to land those shots. So stop taking unfavorable matchups like this.
All right, let's go. Look for the grab. Well, we have to get the diva out of the way.
The team's trying to push into an entrenched Hanzo on a high ground. That's an
Right
unluckers.
behind.
I'm with you.
Ryan's low.
Yep. You can wraith to avoid that.
Should be able to take it.
Mom!
Where's the Junkrat? There's the Junkrat.
Okay, you contributed. We can give you the stamp of contribution for this fight. It was good.
Yeah,
That's-
I felt I wasn't watching.
That's okay, that's okay. Let's back
I'm
away.
there.
Wait.
It's
No,
45 for edge of screen, not 42.
No, don't engage.
Ryan, come back. Please.
So here you're just fucking around with the Hanzo for no good reason.
Alright, Okay, let's go.
Alright, let's go. Look for the grab. Well, we have to get
Just
the
taking
diva out of the way.
unnecessary risks and risks that, you know, when I was talking about like the Brigitte play on the right side, that was high risk, but it was high reward. That situation was just high risk. There was no reward. So avoid high risk, no reward situations as much as possible. You burn Wraith here really early, which
behind.
sucks.
I'm with you.
You actually do manage. Oh, you don't kill the Junkrat. I thought you did. You kill him later.
Ryan's low.
This is good. You break Diva Mech. You realize you don't need your actual ultimate.
Should be able to take it.
Excuse me.
Where's the Junkrat? There's the Junkrat.
Nice shots.
God.
Okay.
How did Diva Bomb get to you guys?
That's okay. It was, you know,
Didn't realize where the position was.
it was to feed them confidence. They get overconfident. So they let
Where's
us
the
cap.
Junkrat? There's the Junkrat.
It's like win trading, except like kill trading,
Indeed.
stat trading. There we go.
Mei again on the defense. Okay, we'll actually watch some of your Mei play this time. I think we talked enough about the timing and the flanks of
Alright,
Reaper.
let's try this again.
Does anybody have questions about what I was talking about on Reaper? Coca-Cola or Pepsi? Coke. Not a Reaper question, but... Does Reaper ult charge slower than Junkrat? In practicality, yes. In terms of actual numbers... In terms of actual numbers, Junkrat's ultimate charge is 1560, and Reaper is 1800. So Reaper's ult does charge slower, yes, both in practicality and theoretically. It's a Reaper question because Soda kills you. Oh. Hey, Smurf Willie.
Attackers incoming in 30
Aw. Thanks, cutie. Hey, there's a wiki. A Gamepedia? The wiki has ultimate numbers. I think it's the only wiki that does, too. Unless the others copied them. How does that ult number thing work? So the ult number is each point. So if an ultimate takes 1800 units of charge to come online, that's either 1 point, like 1 point of ult charge is 1 unit of healing or 1 unit of damage. And the other thing is that on top of that, each character has a separate charge rate. So based on, they'll get like a certain number of charge every second as well, but the passive charge rate is not the same between characters.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers
Hey, Craggy. How you doing, bud? It's good to see you streaming again. I hope the break treated you well. Guys, if you don't know, Craggy just hosted with 1,135 viewers. Hope you had a great day. Hope you had a good stream, too. But, yeah, so Craggy plays for British Hurricanes. I think he's just in the reserves right now because he's taking a bit of a break. But, yeah, welcome back. It is so good to see you streaming Overwatch again. Hope you had a great stream. We're just reviewing a Mei Reaper VOD here. And in your honor, we do have a Soldier Tracer one that we can take a look at later. So thanks for the host, my dude. For the people coming over from Craggy's stream who don't know, this is an educational stream. Basically, welcome back to school. I know. I'm sorry. But what we do here, at least on Wednesdays and Thursdays, is take a look at VODs of gameplay from subscribers and try and coach them, point out some of their mistakes, and talk about higher level game theory and whatnot. So we took a look at Reaper, and now we're taking a look at Mei. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Craggy is considered to be one of the best contenders DPS, right? Yes, you're correct. Especially on tracking heroes like Tracer and Zarya and whatnot. So, get me out of here. I just graduated yesterday. I'm sorry. And Talvin, any idea when you're going to be doing my team VOD so I can plan for it? Are you available this afternoon? What is that emote, Craggy? What is that second emote? Craggy creep? Well, it's certainly creepy. What is your opinion on people fart sucking for endorsements? Man, if people want to play, you know, collect them all and get level 5 endorsement, man, even fake positivity is better than real toxicity. So, anyway, let's get back to it. Watching some Mei stuff.
Oh, I messed it up. Sorry.
And anytime you are going for walls
Ooh,
like that,
big
you
pick
may
from
as
the
well
Diva
just
back.
communicate them to your team. And again, you're playing with the Orisa and the Roadhog,
They're
so
dishing
it's
out
not
the
going to help
damage.
you. It's not going to help you as much as it could have. Like we don't have a Reinhardt that can charge. Reinhardt's a really good synergy with Mei because you can charge targets into the Mei wall. So Reinhardt's can be go for these really aggressive pins, but even if they miss, they're not going to end up in the enemy team. So with Orisa, the Mei is going to be, again, playing a little bit more like a flanker because splitting their team, you don't have the mobility, really. Mei is good for splitting teams. You can cut off individuals and make it 1v5, and then take, you know, however many you have and kill the one that's split off. But that can be challenging. You can also split entire teams in half, 3v3, or 3 and 3, cut them off in rotation and then punish. But with Orisa, since you don't have the mobility, your team is just really going to struggle to follow up on your walls here.
Side, careful.
How many endorsements do you need to level up? I don't
Diva.
know.
Wanna go
It
for
took
it?
me 7 hours to get to level 2
Mine's
endorsement.
low. Nice.
Brigide's behind us.
I'm dropping healing big in here.
Nice little right click
Careful,
there.
enemy one.
And a lot like Mei's new left click, especially now that it pierces targets and can freeze multiple people at once, it's actually a lot better as an area denial, especially if they don't have a shield or something that can actually stop your left click. Much like Junkrat can deny an area because you're just going to take a ton of damage if you go there, Mei can deny an area because an opponent can't take that area without being frozen. So whenever their Rhine's down, you can just deny an opponent from pushing into you rather than trying to go to them and freeze them, especially when you're on defense, right?
Big.
The objective of defense isn't
Get
to,
on point.
Okay.
like, what's a better way of putting this? If the opponent isn't doing anything, you don't have to do anything either on defense. But if you're overly aggressive in an even fight when you're on defense and you feed, you give not the opponent not only the advantage, but the motivation to do something. So just be a lot more careful about going aggressive, and again, these high risk, low reward situations. And this just seems to be a general theme in your play, is that you see opportunities, but they're so tiny and they're so risky that you go for them anyway, and you are being punished for them. So your death count is quite high because you're taking, you're going on these like really risky plays, or trying to go for these risky outplays almost, but it's not working out for you. And even when it does, the value that you get out of it is so small that it doesn't affect the fight at all.
Careful of hammer.
I'm off the map.
As long as you don't blizzard here, I won't scream. You're using super and trance,
Ooh. Hammer. Pop me off.
and your soldier popped off. Nice. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Bobuff. How do I pronounce your name? Bobuff? I hope so.
There's a baby deep on our point.
Mention that E also breaks the wall again.
Big no.
This guy's, he's done it a couple times. He knows that. He did it right there, right? Did it early. Does 3 p.m. what time zone? Eastern? It's a bit late for me.
Oh, fuck. See you guys later.
It's unfortunate. I don't like to just coach people on like, oh, you should have reacted faster
Yeah,
with your
but
ice block. If your reaction time sucks, your reaction time sucks. You just got to play around it. And I don't think reaction time is the thing that prevents anybody from getting to GM either. I've got a 260 millisecond reaction time on average. My reaction time is hot garbage, especially playing on like 80 ping with a reaction time as bad as mine. I can't react to shit like that. It's annoying as fuck, but it's just something that
Soldier was hurt.
I have to deal with because that's kind of who I am as a player. It's gone down recently, but it used to be at 260.
Soldier.
And everybody's probably like, oh, how do I test my reaction speed? See, I knew somebody was going to ask. You search human benchmark. Just search human benchmark on Google. And this will, first of all, this will be impacted by your setup. So this isn't your human reaction time. This is your reaction time, including the delay of your entire system. Your monitor's refresh, how fast your computer can read your mouse input. So there's a lot for this. Ooh, 217. Not bad. 242. 242. 281. 250. So I'm at 246 right now. Not bad. But my reaction time fucking sucks. So try yours and post in chat what you got. Back to the main VOD.
Help me out.
Yeah, if you do it on your phone, it's not going to be accurate.
They're all pushing on the left side.
Mobile phones have a ridiculous amount of
Oh,
delay.
Roadhog. Nice look.
I'm on point.
Where is that? Oh, it's right
Oh
there.
shit, it landed in front of me. We didn't see it, it's okay. Don't worry, we have our carriers to carry us through.
If you've got 200, if you're anywhere close to the 200 mark, you're easily top 10th percentile
That'll be big.
of reaction times. Like, if you're under 200, your reaction time is insane. Absolutely crazy. Especially if that's your reaction time through a computer. So, then again, I'm proof that with shitty reaction time, you can still reach GM. So, I wouldn't worry about it even if you've got low reaction time.
Feel free to fall back, fall back.
So, I really like this positioning. And this is, I think you're doing this on accident.
Feel free to fall back.
But
Fall back.
here, look how you're actually using cover for once. So first of all, cover, really important. But the second thing is, no matter which way anybody moves, you've got cover, but you can still freeze them. You can wall them off if they're too aggressive. You can wall them off if they attack you. You can, like, by being located in this area, you are denying this entire area to an opponent. Now, there's different kinds of, like, area denial characters, right? So when we're talking about defense heroes, what is the real classification of defense heroes? Like, what are defense heroes actually good at? And I know they just removed the category, and they removed the category for good enough of a reason. But you should really understand how your character is best suited at actually controlling the map, and in what ways they can control maps. So a Widowmaker, who has instantaneous one-shot ability, is really, really good at holding areas where there is no cover at all. If Widow has unlimited sightlines, she is at her absolute strength. Cover reduces Widowmaker's effectiveness. But with Mei, a lot of really intricate geometry, choke points, where your walls are perfect, where people can't just walk around them, Mei becomes a lot stronger. And Mei is really, really strong at controlling tiny areas with walls and choke points and areas where people want to travel as a team. That's where Mei is strong at. Junkrat is similar in how he denies space, but, sorry, like, it's similar in the kind of space that Junkrat denies, but he does it with damage and less with utility, like Mei does. Mei is much more controlling map through utility. So if you have a main character, think right now, okay? Pick yourself, like, just say a character name right now. I play Zarya. Okay? Now think to yourself, what kind of map is my character best at controlling? Because you want to control a specific area of the map. And you can define control as, if an opponent enters my area of control, they have a high risk of death. I am safe in my area, and if anybody enters my area, it is likely that they will die. Whereas if you're in the open, which you've constantly been on Mei, you really struggle to control map, and if opponents enter the area that you are supposedly controlling, they have an advantage in your area, which is never good. So just try and think about this a little bit. You play Soldier, so you prefer high grounds and areas where you can quickly reposition with sprint, right? So Hanzo, you prefer high ground again because you can use your climbs. You prefer windows so that you can actually like peek fire because you can charge while hiding. Try and think about the different areas. And Hanzo is also really good at controlling sight lines. So what is it for Winston? Winston is usually areas of high ground so you can drop where you can arrive onto people without using a cooldown, as well as areas where you can get a large amount of cleave damage on multiple targets. That will give you a lot of value on Winston. Like Dorado second, for example. There's that high ground. And if the opponents are pushing the payload underneath it, you just drop off the high ground, you get cleave, they try and push you, you jump back to the high ground and reset, and you just cycle through this. That's really good map geometry for Winston, right? So Genji, you want flanks, you want areas where you can actually harass, you want, again, high ground areas where you can escape with your wall climbs, anywhere vertical mobility is strong. Tracer, of course, very good horizontal mobility. When you're taking a look at like Tracer and Genji, both very powerful flankers. Tracer is more favored in her kit outside of her ultimate, has a good ultimate, but more favored with her kit outside of it, whereas Genji's kit more favors him during his ultimate. So your playstyles are going to change based off of that, but then also Genji's kit, both his Swift Strike and his wall climb allow him to get vertical mobility, whereas Tracer's recall and blinks only deal in horizontal mobility. So Tracer and Genji operate differently on different maps, whereas normally you see Genji way more than Tracer on maps like Gibraltar and Nimbani. So each character, not just defense characters are best at it usually, but each character likes controlling different areas of map or different geometries of map, and different characters do it better than others. So whichever character you play, even if you're a support, Zenyatta and Ana, sightlines, right? Moira, close quarters. Mercy, split teams, long sight lines, right? Mercy doesn't like to be clustered because then she can't escape. So think about how your character can help control space. Lucio is good at controlling almost all aspects of
Winston's
map.
frozen.
Holy fuck.
Oh, he got it.
10 seconds remaining.
D.Va's low. Okay, they're using ultis now.
Died to another D.Va bomb. Oh no, you're Zen
feel like
through. You're Zen
Shouldn't
through.
use as many ults.
No.
Just let them take it, but okay.
That is unfortunate.
Go Zen.
Unluckers.
That's pretty good.
What would you say D.Va excels at? Bullying high grounds, high mobility,
that's good.
peeling for
We'll just
flankers.
kill them before they can enter third point.
They have 30
D.Va can
seconds.
allow supports to take more aggressive locations because you can
Should we
protect
try
them.
fighting a little bit more?
Also really good at bullying high ground.
Just wait here, it's fine.
Monkey no bubble. D.Va one.
I think you've got this. Oh, you
Oh,
got a headshot.
shit.
But yeah, like you're again. There's so many times that you're
You
just
guys-
in the open as Mei and Reaper. You're not using cover.
Overtime spawn.
You're not
Forgot.
using flanks. It's unfortunate. You're just in the open constantly. And characters that are not meant to play in the open. Oh, you didn't get on. Unluckers.
It's okay. It's either a draw or we win.
Zarya is by far the best with Reinhardt.
Switching sides.
Brigitte
just
depends on
gotta
playstyles and
Don't worry,
composition.
guys.
Brigitte's got a lot of utility in ways that you can change how she plays.
Select your hero.
You should try getting people like Crow or a Junk or Mayvod review. That'd be interesting to see. I don't think, again, Crow is somebody who they don't. I actually not a huge fan of Crow. I'll be completely honest. So he just one tricks Junkrat and never talks in voice comms. That alone just rubs me the wrong way. If you just like I don't know, I haven't watched him for a while, but if I like the 1 or 2 times I watched him, as soon as I realized that he was just never in voice chat, not even like he doesn't fine if you don't talk, but if you don't listen either, drives me insane. So, yeah, I don't appreciate people who one trick and don't communicate. I feel like if you one trick, you need to communicate even more. It bothers me. Yeah, PvP. Oh, I've worked with PvP in the past.
2, 1. Attack commencing.
Let's
Capture
go, guys.
objective A.
Voice chat isn't really a big deal in ranked, especially at the lower ranks, in my opinion. And that is your opinion, and it's one that I do not share. Back to Reaper.
Oh no, it's a Torb. Go, go, go.
Pressuring that Zar or the Diva out.
He was Connor.
No, they're here. Oh god, it's a Sim Torb. Fuck.
They're doing the Sim Torb cheese, eh?
Guys, rush them.
No.
Quickly,
Oh
Lord.
god, that was.
Oh fuck, guys. Okay.
So. You communicate your plans after you're already executing them. You're like, you raced into them, and then you're like, okay, let's go, team, after you're already in there and your team can't do shit to support you. So if you, like, I love how much you're talking and you are trying to shot call and plan. You need to stop being Captain Hindsight and actually let your team know what the plan is before you start executing it so they can actually help you. They can't help you if you tell them what you're what you have just done, I suppose. Tell them what you're about to do, and maybe they'll be able to assist you a little bit better. Also, Wraith is used to escape, not to engage. You can't close the distance with Wraith form. That's not how it works.
Maybe D.Va's low top.
Back from the grave.
Killing back these things. I'm here.
30 seconds remaining.
Finish this. Repositioning. Teleport around.
Let's play a game.
30 seconds remaining.
Let's play a game.
Finish this. Repositioning.
So they have a Torb. Where's my mouse? So they have a Torb. He's going to be option A. There's a Zenyatta. He's going to be option B. There's an ulting Moira, who's going to be option C. D is Teleporter. And E is Turret. I don't even know if they have an Orisa. Do they have an Orisa? They probably have an Orisa somewhere. Telly, Turret. I assume there's an Orisa somewhere, but we're just not going to have her as an option. So what do you think the right choice here is? Chat. Words are hard. What is the right choice? What is the right choice? A, B, C, D, or E? What do you think, chat? What do you think? It's not mouse writing. It's a tablet. Surrender? Just give up now? Leave the game? And, like, this is another example why flanking is useful. So, that's going to be a rant after we're done this poll. Another reason why flanking is useful. Flanking is so powerful. So powerful. It really is. If you, like, sneak shatters, for example. I fucked up my... Okay. Like, if you've seen sneak shatters or something, that's an example of flanking. Just You don't have to think of flanking as something as, repositioning in the middle of a fight or something like that. But it can be just attacking in a different way or from a different location. Both are like kind of aspects of flanking here. So if you had flanked around the left side where this Torbjorn is, you could have been able to either kill him or force him out of this I'm gonna get into this rant. I don't want to get into this rant. What do you guys think? B or D? So you guys think either go for the Zenyatta or go for the teleporter. Fair enough. So you think Zenyatta or teleporter? I don't think the Zenyatta is that good of a choice. I don't think the Zenyatta is that good of a choice because you will have to cross open territory to get to him. It's going to be pretty challenging. He's going to see you. He's going to kite back. He's got this mini. He's got this mini over here, right? That's not going to help. Because if he sees you coming, he's going to be like, nope, I'm out of here. And he's going to be able to keep you at range. He's going to have the Moira Coalescence to heal him and damage you while he's going to disgorge you. This is a death trap if you go for the Zen. Yes, theoretically, if you could magically make the Zenyatta disappear, would probably be pretty good. Yeah. For those of you who voted teleporter, sure. The thing is that even if you go for the teleporter first and you kill it, but your team lost the fight, well, then there was no reinforcements coming through the teleporter anyway, so it's kind of a catch-22. If you don't go for the teleporter, so if you don't go for the teleporter and you kill everybody, they're going to use the teleporter. But then you do have control of the point. They're going to be coming in one at a time. If you go for the teleporter, your team's going to lose, and no opponents are going to die that are going to come back through the teleporter here. So especially with this being a close fight and the last fight, I wouldn't risk going for the teleporter. If this was second last fight, teleporter 100%. But this is very much sort of like a gut. It's an instinctual thing whether you know that teleporter's last fight. During the last fight, is it good to go for the teleporter? No. Second last fight, that would be awesome because then you could stage behind, be the last one to touch, also take somebody else, wraith back to your team after you triggered overtime. You could do a lot of stuff like that, but I don't think teleporter is the right decision either. Torbjorn is 100% a no-go because you can't get to him. There's nothing you can do. There's legitimately nothing you can do to this Torbjorn. Just straight up. You can't cross that gap. Your Shadow Steps, your Wraith can't get that. You can't do anything to the Torbjorn. So the correct answer, in my opinion, actually would have been the ulting Moira. It's pretty much the only option you have. Would I have actually gone hard on that character? No. Probably stabilize until I can look for an opportunity. But the reason why you have so many shitty options, and I'm not saying that the Moira is a good option. The Moira option is the best of a ton of really shitty options. The turret is not. Turret's going to be a waste of time. Okay. If you can't, I think your main tank already drew the aggression of the turret anyway. So, it's a waste of time for you to try and go get the turret, especially for it to being the last fight. And you don't even know where it is at this point in time anyway. So, the problem is that we've got the best of a bunch of shitty options. They're all terrible options. On the upside, if the Moira does come out of Coalescence in your honor, maybe you'll force Fade or Orb, and then, she'll be low on resources and can't heal the Zen or help the Zen or something like that. But there's just so many bad options here. You have so many terrible trash tier options, and these options are available to you because of how you actually approached the fight. The decision-making before the fight was the problem. If you had flanked right, maybe you could have run into the teleporter or the turret on the way to the fight. If you had flanked left, you could have either killed or cleared the Torb before joining the fight or going to the Zenyatta next. But instead, you teleported onto box where nobody was, wasted to cooldown, and now you're having to go into the open to attack somebody. So the problem with your play is not your target priority, not your mechanics, even though your mechanics suck. The problem is your decision-making and your forethought into the game itself. And now my rant on flanking. So, let's consider dual flankers. Let's consider that both teams have a tank core of 4. Both teams have a tank core of 4, and then one flanker on either side. And this is middle ground. This is oversimplified. But this is something that I'm actually starting to consider one of the more optimal setups for teams. I have really enjoyed building compositions, setups, and strategies and rollouts around the 4-1-1 setup. One flanker on either side, and then a 4-man tank core. I really enjoy this setup. I really enjoy it. This is juice. Especially if you have superstar DPS players on your team, this is so strong. So, if the opponent, and the key thing here is that you don't actually have to win this tank core. The objective here, yeah, okay, I'm gonna talk about this. Wasn't going to, but I'm gonna talk about this. You don't even have to win the tank core fight. You don't care. Your main job here is to provide some sort of safety to people to fall back to if they have to. Take ground, be a nuisance. You can't be dislodged. The tank core is meant to just plant a flag and say, I am here. And the problem is that if you push into the opposing tank core, the angles open up and the flankers can have better sightlines and actually become, not only you as a tank core pushing forward makes your flankers less effective and their flankers more effective. Or it's not flankers. They're maintaining a flank pressure is probably the best way to put it. So you don't really want to be too aggressive with this style of composition. But if your DPS can win the fight, so if we can eliminate the other one, and then this flanker moves into their position like a pawn or a rook or something taking a person, and now we have your person on this tank core is now exposed, and we have this angle, and we can start pressuring in because we're starting to remove map control from them. And you just sort of eliminate them and then corral them. Now, if you had done this sort of thing on Reaper, so they've got, we'll say they are kind of doing this, aren't they? We'll say there's 4. So they've got the Zen, the Moira, the Orisa, and who the fuck was their second tank? Diva, right? So that's their tank core. That's their core, is Orisa, Diva, Zenyatta, and Moira. They're all split up, and they're being plats, but they're a tank core. More or less, they're a tank core. On the right side, not a 4. So that's their tank core. On the right side, they had a Symmetra, who's got a teleporter set up. I think the turret's over there somewhere as well. So the Symmetra is holding the right side. And then a Torbjorn is controlling the left side. So, if you had flanked left on Reaper, you would have killed the Torbjorn and then been able to assault the tank core. If you went right, you would have been able to kill Telly, kill Sim, because you're favored in both of those engagements, take that out, assault the tank core. However, because you used a cooldown going forward and then are going to engage the main core, these guys control the flanking pressure, they're going to keep their utility up, and you pushing in is going to make you weaker overall when fighting the core. So sweep in. Your tank core is like here. So this would have been the best one for you to actually take out. If your tank core is attacking more from the left, it's even more important that you remove this flanking pressure on the far left side. So, and the shape that you want is you want the opponents to be here, and you want to draw a horseshoe around the opponent. Because if you are attacking, and you're blue now, if you're attacking from here and you're putting a lot of pressure, even if you can't kill them, where are they going to retreat? They're going to retreat into the waiting arms of somebody else or off the objective, and you're going to win. You make the horseshoe. Make the horseshoe. Make the horseshoe. Don't push into... You're pushing into a horseshoe. This is the opponent's map control. Your tank core is like, good God, please. And they're trying to push in here, and then you're also pushing in here, but they still have both flanks. The high grounds, they're set up, they have utility. They have utility, damage, and control over you. You're fucked in this last fight. It just doesn't matter. Hello? Off. There we go. See? You're favored in the Sim 1v1.
Oh, fuck.
Too bad that they had 3 different sightlines on you and you got fucked anyway.
Why didn't they all teleport and they can come back?
Sim is easy clap for Reaper. you can isolate by
Oh
attacking.
no, we lost it.
Yeah, this is all on you. This loss.
Good games, guys.
When we're talking about unwinnable and unlosable games, this
Played
game
well,
was
played well.
very, very close to being an unlosable game. But you tried your best, and when you work your hardest, you do somehow make unlosable games drawable. But yeah, this was well within your capabilities of turning that game into a win. So, yeah, interesting VOD. You have no concept of flanks. So if you were actually like one of my students, I would just get you to play flankers. Especially one of my favorite things to do to try and teach somebody the importance of flanks is get them to play Tracer, and I just force them to always see, like, one of my favorite drills for people to go into ranked and practice this and start understanding flanks and how they work is if the opponent is here as a 6-man core and then your team is here as a 5-man, I try and get the person and I tell them, you always want your team on the exact opposite side of the enemy team and try and maintain this position. Try and live in the enemy backline. And if you can do this, you'll slowly start to learn how to exist on the flank, how to survive on the flank, how to recognize the opportunities where a flanker can be aggressive and actually score the picks. So try this. Whether Tracer's the easiest and most forgiving because she has the easiest kit to do this on, Reaper and Genji requires a lot more experience, and doing this on a character like McCree or Hanzo requires a shit ton of expertise and confidence. But try this. Try this in a comp game. If you play any sort of character that even has the remotest capability of flanking, try. Isolate, flank, isolate, flank. So, yeah. It was a little bit more theoretical than I was expecting to go into in that VOD, but I hope you found it useful. So, I hope you found it useful.